Hello, good evening, everyone. On this side, and today we are going to start with our next practical sessions, which is very, very important for the practical point of view. So today we are going to deal with index rebuilding and stats gathering. We have already covered these topics like index rebuilding and stats gathering. What are the methods to gather the stats and all that? In gathering statistics, what happens basically, if your statistics is not up to date, then optimizer is not aware with your data, actual data. On that scenario, optimizer choose the bad plans. So to overcome that, we have to gather the stats, and we have to make optimizer aware that this is the current statistics, and on the basis of that statistics, one can make a good plan. Okay, so in our organization, what happens, we have the tables in the terabyte as well as the gigs. So what we used to do, we used to schedule the jobs, we used to schedule the stats gathering jobs and index rebuilding jobs in cron tabs, and it can be on the weekly basis, like on every weekends we will schedule it when the user count is very less in the server. On that scenario, we will just use the stats gathering jobs and index rebuilding jobs into effect, so that our statistics on the weekly basis will be getting updated, and optimizer will be aware with the latest updated stats, and it will be making the plan according to the best execution plan. So what we used to do here, we used to schedule our jobs of index rebuild and stats gathering in the cron jobs on the weekly basis. It can be the alternate day also, you whatever the company's requirement is, right? If your database is performing slow on every alternate day, then you have to keep the stats job ready, and you have to schedule it and every alternate jobs at the midnight when the user count on the server is very, very less. So in this scenario, we have already discussed in past that we can gather the statistics of even index, we can gather the statistics of tables, we can gather the statistics of schemas, even you can gather the statistics of OS. So there is a procedure dbams underscore stats, and with this procedure we have the procedure name related to the index tables and schemas. On the basis of that, we used to execute it. Okay, so you will be saying that, okay, how to check, first of all, how to check if the stats gather is being stats has been gathered earlier or not, right, on any particular index or tables, or how to analyze that it will be the issue related to the stats. So we have a view, and from that view we have a following columns, right, like stats, stale stats. This is a very, very important column. Along with, you have one column named last analyzed. So from these two columns, you will be able to identify what is the stats job, whether you require the statistics to be gathered, or when the statistics was last gathered. So from last analyzed sections, you will be able to find when the last time the statistics has been updated, and from the stale stats, you have two options. One is yes and one is no. So yes and no denotes two things. Like suppose if your statistics is not up to date, that means you require, or optimizer need to be aware with the stats, because statistics is not up to date. That means how to analyze that stats is not up to date, when your stale underscore stats column will show the output as yes. When stale object is yes, that means you require to update the optimizer, you require to gather the statistics. On the scenario when the stale stats is no, that means stats has already been gathered, so you don't require to gather the stats anymore. And from the last analyzed sections, you will be able to identify when the last time the statistics gather job has been ran. So there's a view. I will let you know the view also. View name is dba underscore ind underscore statistics. So this is very important views. You should be aware with the name dba underscore ind underscore statistics. So with the help of this view, you will be able to find the last analysis and the stale objects of the index tables and all that. So the question that should come to your mind is, um, first thing, that what issue one can encounter, and will let you know, right? So the application team, the same query, the same issues, the application team will update you. App team will ask you that some slowness they are observing from application end. That means what? This is the next case scenario when you should know. The first case scenario we have already discussed, that it can be the long running sessions which we need to encounter and we need to tune and all that thing. And the best possible thing is to kill the sessions for the temporary fix, and for the permanent fix we have to generate the ASH AWR report. And in this scenario, the same thing will happen. If no long running query is being running here, then what will be the alternate way to search or tune the query? So this is the next method from which you can identify that if there is a stale objects or not. Okay. Or number one, index is stale or not. Number two, tables are stale or not. If any of the database object is stale, right, that means stale is equal to yes. On that scenario, you have to do one fix, that is gathering the statistics. Okay. And if the index is also having the same scenario, like statistics is not up to date, then on that index scenario, if index is not usable, so from the db underscore ind underscore indexes or statistics, I have already mentioned the view in the last session. So from this view, I'm not pretty much confident on this view, but make sure that you can check it, or if you face any issues, then I can make you update on the view, actual view name. So from the view also you can identify whether index is being used or not. If index is not being used, so on that scenario, if index is not in use, so you can identify which index are in use or which index are not in use. So on that scenario, what you can do, you can rebuild the index. Rebuilding the index means what? If the stat stale is yes, and index is not being utilized or not being used by the select query or whatever the query which is running, and it is encountering the problem for the application team, so on that scenario, what you can do, you can just rebuild the index. And how to rebuild the index, I will let you know. But make sure whenever you are rebuilding the index, after rebuilding all the index, you should gather the statistics. First make the index is in use, then you can rebuild it, then you can gather the statistics of the particular index. So this is all about the indexing concept, gathering statistics concept, and how to analyze and how to tune whenever the slowness is observed by the application team. So let me show you in the practical session that how to analyze and what and all things we have to see and how to resolve the issue. So first of all, let me set the environment for a database SSAA SQL plus as SysDB. So the first thing, we are in the sys user. Okay, you can log into any of the user and you can check from your end. Okay, if you have current data, but if you don't have the data, then you can check here what I am showing here. So we have multiple indexes, multiple column, multiple tables in under the sys schema. Okay, So what I will do, I will just use the db underscore ind underscore statistics, and I will choose the columns name like owner, index name, table name, last analyze, and stale stats. So last analyze means what? When the last time analysis has been happened for the particular index or table. Stale stats means what? If it is showing yes, that means you need to rebuild the index, or you have to gather the statistics. That means gathering the statistics is required in this scenario. If it is no, then you are good to go. And you have to mention the owner name, for which owner you want to do the means verification that yes, for this user we are getting issues. If application team will say that okay, from this user I am getting issues, so you have to encounter that user. And stale stats is yes, that means what? The indexes or tables whose stale stats is yes, show me that data, right? So I will trigger this command. Okay, set line 200, pages 200. Okay, tip owner, index name, table name. Okay, let me format the table name also. Call for a 30. Okay, so now it's look fine. Okay, so what you are seeing here, that the owner is this, right? Because I have chosen the query where the owner should be this only. These are the indexes which has been created on the table, and on the right hand side you will be finding the table name as well, on which table the indexes have been created, and these are the last analyzed sections. So look, on the tab dollar table, the last analysis was happened on means last time gather stats was happened on 21st of May, and the stale object stale stats is yes. That means what? You must require the statistics to be updated for these many tables and these many columns, these many indexes also. So if you are using this query to identify, okay, you want to check even all the objects, even the stale object is no. Okay, so what I will do, I will just modify this query and I will just use up to this, right? Or I can use no one. Look, so these many tables and indexes are there whose stale objects are no. That means what? You don't require to update the statistics. Even the statistics was updated on 21st of May and today is 23rd. But you don't have to update the statistics on that scenario, because it won't impact the query performance, or it won't perform the any slowness related stuff. Okay, so you are good if the stale object is no. So our main concern is that we have to check and we have to be aware about the uh, stale object which is yes. So let me show you some more thing here. Table underscore name. Okay, I'm updating the tokens, and then I'm re-triggering the query. Okay, table name, table name 30. Just making the column format. Yeah, now it's fine. So suppose I want to rebuild the index, any one of the index. These are the system generated index, so you can't rebuild it. But suppose I want to rebuild the index like this one. Mm, I don't want system generated index. Mm, okay, let me use this one only. Okay, so let's try to rebuild the index, or you can use this one also. The index name is I tab 1. Okay, so in I tab 1, the stale object is yes. That means you require to rebuild the index and gather the stats. and the last analysis what was done on this table was on 21st of May. So what I will do, I will just rebuild this index. So how to rebuild the index? So there is a command and we can directly use in the production database also. Alter index name, rebuild online. So with the help of this command, you can rebuild the index. So what it is showing here, object necessary for a worm starting database cannot be altered. That means there are few indexes which is user defined. You can't alter that. Okay. So let me use some other index also. Alter index. Uh, let's try some other index. These are the system generated index, so we can't rebuild it. Mm, okay, let me try for this one also. Rebuild online. Primary index is not an IoT, cannot be rebuilt. So there are few indexes which you can't rebuild, but yes, we can rebuild the index. I don't find any such indexes here which can be rebuilt. Mm, okay. I don't think we can rebuild any index here, but let me try with some other uh, user and show you. Let me trigger this command. This can be HR. Okay. Yeah. Look, this query is not working here because there is no stale objects. Mm, even I can check the stale objects as no. So look, there are some indexes on these many countries, or these many tables, and whose statistics is no, right? So we don't have to update the statistics to make optimizer aware. But what if we want to rebuild the index? My main concern is this. Let me try for that also. Alter index, index name means hr dot uh, say department location rebuild online. So look, this index is being rebuilt. So this is how you can rebuild the indexes. So there are a few indexes which we can't rebuild, which is system generated. But the thing is what the indexes which you will generate can be uh, rebuilt. So with the help of this command, you can rebuild the index online. If you don't use this command right online, then it might happen that sometimes user is being accessing this table like department table, and you can't do rebuilding online or rebuilding the index at that time. So always mention online. Once the transition is completed, as soon as possible it will rebuild it, so that other transitions won't be impacted on that scenario. So in our case, we have just rebuilt it and the statistics is no, right? That means you don't require to update the statistics. But the look, the last analyzed is 17th of March, right? Department H, okay, this one location. So I am concerned with this index and the last analyzed is 17th of March 2022. What I will do, I will just gather the statistics for this index. So how to do that? Just copy the index name, and this is the procedure what we have already discussed in the last few sessions. So exec ddms stats dot gather underscore index underscore stats. You have to mention the schema name, which schema you want to do the statistics gather, and the index name. So mention the index name and the estimate percentage. This thing we have already discussed in our practical sessions. And I will just execute it here. Look, the procedure has been executed successfully. So that means we have successfully rebuilt the index as well as we have successfully done the stats gathering. So let me re-trigger the query and look for this indexes. You gather stats and the last analyzed was, it came to 23rd May 2022. If we'll check the date, look, today is 23rd of May 2022. So this is how you can gather the statistics and how to identify if a statistic is gathered or not from the last analyzed column. And make sure this, after gathering statistics, this stale object is no. Okay. So if it will be yes, then after gathering the statistics, analysis will be done and the stale object will be no. Okay. So this is all about stats gathering and index rebuilding when some issues you will be encountering at the application level or some database level also. To improve the performance, you have to make sure that statistics need to be gathered and to make optimizer aware that these are the current stats so that optimizer can make a good plan. So this is all about index rebuilding and stats gathering job. So try it, practice it. If you guys have any doubts, you can connect with me. So till then, thank you everyone. Bye bye.